Hi guys, in this video we're going to be looking at graphing equations. This is part 2, so if you haven't watched part 1, please watch part 1 first. In these examples we're going to have a blank table and you're going to fill in the x values by yourself. So when you're filling them out, it's really important to have a x equals 0, negative values of x as well as positive values of x. So let's get started. Graph the equation 2x plus 1. So that's our equation. Now, like I said, we need some negative values of x, we need some positive values of x, and we need a 0. So I'm going to put 0 in the middle. We're going to have some negative and some positive. So I might do x equals negative 1, x equals negative 5. And I'm going to have the positive values, so I'll mirror it, 1 and 5. So let's get started. When x equals negative 5, y will equal, so y equals 2 negative 5 plus 1. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, plus 1 is negative 9. So when x equals negative 5, y is negative 9. Our next one, x equals negative 1. Y equals 2 negative 1 plus 1. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 1 is negative 1. So when x equals negative 1, y equals negative 1. Now we're up to 0. So when x equals 0, y equals 2, 0 plus 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. So x equals 0, y equals 1. Now we're looking at x equals 1. So y equals 2, 1 plus 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. So when x equals 1, y equals 3. Our last one, x equals 5. So y equals 2x, which is 5, plus 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Okay, now that we have our table, we can start graphing. So we have negative 5 and 9. So x equals negative 5, which is here. And y equals negative 9, which is right there. Okay, then we have negative 1, negative 1. So there's negative 1 is there. 0, negative 1. So 0, 1. So x equals 0, y equals 1, which is right there. 1 and 3, y equals 1, x equals 3. And our last one, 5 and 11. So we've got x equals 5, y equals 11, which will be up here. Okay, now that we have our points, remember we need to do our line using a pencil and a ruler, and don't forget to put the arrows at the end. And there we go. This is the graph for y equals 2x plus 1. Okay, we'll do one more example. This next one's a bit more difficult. And that's because it's going to be a parabola. What does that mean? Well, it means that the line is not going to be straight, it's going to change directions. So remember, we have to have x equals 0, so I'll put that in the middle. And we need positive numbers of x as well as negative numbers of x. So this time I might do 2 and 3. So I'm going to mirror it on the other side. I don't have to mirror it, but I think that I will, simply because it makes it easier to decide what numbers to put on. Okay, let's get started. Well, our first number is x is -3. So y equals x, which is -3 squared. When x is -3, it's -3 squared, which is +9. So when x equals -3, y equals 9. Next one, when x equals -2, -2 squared is 4. When x equals 0, so 0 squared equals 0. Now we're looking at x equals 2, so y equals 2 squared is 4. So when x equals 2, y equals 4. And our last equation, x equals 3, so y equals 3 squared equals 9. Now that I have my numbers, let's get started on the graph. So we have -3 and 9. So -3 and 9 is right there. We have -2 and 4. So I've got -2 and 4. There we go. We have 0 and 0, so that's the origin. 2 and 4. So 2 up to 4. There we go. And our last number, 3 and 9. So 3 is there. We'll go up to 9, and there we go. So I'm going to try and draw on this screen. It might be a bit difficult to get it completely straight, but this is your parabola. It's a bit wonky, and remember you do need to have your arrows in the end. So it's kind of like a belly, and that's the reason why you must have positive numbers, your 0 and your negative numbers, when you put values in for x, because as you can see, it changes direction at the origin. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.